All we want is more, more, and more. So is it still a hobby or did it become a chore? Hello fellow doll lovers, Barbie Nation here. Welcome back to my channel. Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning into another video with me today. My name is Arjen, aka Barbie Nation, and what I do is I collect dolls, I play with dolls, I talk about dolls, and every now and then I give them a super cute makeover. So if you're into anything cute, sweet, and petite, definitely subscribe to my channel to get some lovely pastel glitters on your feed. Now let's get into today's topic. Here we go. So today I wanted to share my thoughts, opinions, and insights about the topic of a possible doll burnout. So this will be quite a different kind of video, so I'll be just chatting and sharing my thoughts on the issue. So no reviewing, no unboxing, or taking dolls to the salon today. Yeah, just your auntie Arjen talking about dolls with you. Before I start, I just want to put out a quick disclaimer out there. I'm not a therapist or anything, but I just wanted to share my, thoughts and analysis on our hobby and some issues we might face, or well, the whole idea of the possible doll burnout. So usually I have these conversations with people over a good glass of wine, but this time sit yourself down, have a nice cup of tea, put me on in the background while you're playing with your dolls, doing their hair or restyling them, and yeah, let me know, of course, in the comments if you share my thoughts on the topic, if you have any other insights, maybe just having a relaxing and fun talk together. So a doll burnout, what is that exactly? Well, I think signs of a doll burnout is feeling overwhelmed, having the feeling of it being very space consuming, having FOMO, budget control, shame or anxiety, or, having the feeling that it became more of a chore instead of a hobby. You might check some of these boxes, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're experiencing a doll burnout, but I think we can all relate to some topics that the doll burnout have. Now, it's not like an official condition that you have. It's more kind of like a relatable subject. We all go through these phases where we experience one of these signs, of a doll burnout. So I just wanted to share it with you and put it out there, and maybe it will give you some new insights about your collecting habits. So starting off with a feeling of being totally overwhelmed, especially when you have been hoarding a lot of dolls by thrifting or just, buying dolls. And especially you get that feeling when you have a lot of thrifted dolls that still need some attention and love, but you just don't have the time or energy to, take on those projects. So usually that can be a sign of being fatigued, not having the energy or feeling the spark joy to give that doll the attention and love that it needs. Also having stacks of unboxed dolls, if you're an out-of-box collector, and they are just sitting there in your room waiting to be unboxed, but you just don't have the joy inside of you to really do that because it's so many. And we all started with, buying a childhood doll, or a doll that you saw in a store that, sparked the collecting of doll collecting inside of you. And we usually go and hunt down that exact feeling. But, I see it as kind of like a relationship. In the beginning, you're totally in love, mad, crazy about each other. The butterflies, that whole concept. And the butterflies, they just turn into some kind of like unconditional love. Yeah. And I think it's the same when you're starting out this hobby. The first few dolls that you're getting is like this pure feeling of euphoria, nostalgia. Um, it's so fun. It's so fun, actually. Same with a relationship. You know, the beginning is just the most endorphin process making phase of that. So when time moves on, that feeling gets less and less.
Maybe even same with kind of like an addiction.
Again, disclaimer, I'm no therapist, but it's just my thoughts on the matter. And you know, the level of dopamine or that hit is just it dims through time and through the way your collection is growing. So yeah. Which is not a bad sign at all, by the way. It doesn't mean like you are less welcoming to a doll, but I mean, we can all relate to that, right? Or am I just being alone here? Um, Starting out a collection, starting out with that first doll that you're getting, and it hits different once time moves on. Of course, you have your holy grail dolls, which why we are after them, because they do hold the secret to that feeling. Also, a sign could be like you have these random stacks of dolls if you're like an inbox collector and you just cannot find the motivation to give them a cute home in your doll room or other places in your house where you display your dolls. So they're just laying there waiting to get like a good spot to be displayed. Yeah, so all that is just like feeling overwhelmed, you know, the feeling of having too much and not being able to recollect the energy or the spark joy to actually do something with those dolls. Which brings us to the space consuming part of this hobby. You know, with any collection, you need space to display it. That can also be a problem for some people, having just too little space, so it becomes too crowded. It makes you feel like it's too much clutter, which then again can make you feel uneasy or maybe even stressed sometimes. And what could be a factor to that is that you're being like non-consistent to what you are collecting. You're just buying everything you see, everything that comes out, not having like a specific category to keep you in check of what you're collecting. And this is hard. I know this by firsthand. This is hard because I myself am very easy to please. So if anything is just either pastel, super pink, or very cute and adorable, I'm just already in love with it. So I really had to keep myself in check, which led me to come to this like pastel-ish collection. I do like exploring, you know, other styles. But when it comes to displaying or keeping dolls in box, I really do try to keep myself to a certain aesthetic. And it helps me. It really helps me a lot to not buy everything. But, you know, I have to admit, I also am a victim to, you know, buying Rainbow High dolls, Monster High dolls, LOL OMG dolls, you know, not keeping myself in check for what I'm collecting. So I'm trying to, you know, kind of like purge everything out here, and actually am at the point where I do want to sell actually all of my Rainbow High dolls and LOL OMG dolls, because they're just now stacked in a box somewhere in storage, and I actually do not give them the love that they need, and I actually sometimes forget that I even have them. So yeah. Brings us to the next topic, which is FOMO. Yeah. Oh my gosh, the FOMO. I have been experiencing that a lot of times, especially, I have to admit, especially with the new Mattel Creations website and their doll releases. Just the fear of missing out of a doll and the fear of having to pay scalper prices in the future. Keeping that in check, yeah, I have to say, I do not really have tips to keep that in check. Only that I have experienced that the FOMO wasn't valid. After some time, usually the dolls were still available, maybe even at sale prices. And the dolls where I thought would be, going to be only available on eBay for scalper prices did not turn out to be those, rare dolls. So FOMO is often a trick of your mind. It is nonsense, of course, that you just cannot get your hands on these dolls in the future when you do have the doll budget for them. Because I have been collecting a lot of dolls that came out, prior to 2010, and I was still able to get most of those dolls. So why is it so much a thing now and wasn't so much a thing back then? Just a train of thought that you might hold on to. And it's especially hard if you're like a completionist, you really want to hit every collection and really complete every series that you collect. That's when the FOMO really starts to kick in. Also, what triggers the FOMO sometimes, I think, is social media, actually. You see other doll tubers, me, myself included. I just can't leave myself out of this. I like to collect them. I like to show them to you. And I also kind of feel obligated to do so now because I find that I have a large following now. So whenever I get a doll and I do things with the doll or I explore the doll, I feel like it's my duty to share that with you. But sometimes I think it is wise to kind of like log out of the social media. Because when you open Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or whatever, and you see all these people reviewing or getting all of these dolls, doing doll hunt videos, it triggers the FOMO. So if you really have a bad time dealing with FOMO, I would also actually suggest to stay off social media or at least do like a mild social media run for a few days or maybe even a few weeks, whatever it takes to take down, the FOMO feeling that you have. So which brings us to budget control. Yeah. Now, this is a subject I think we all have kind of like this budget for ourselves for, I don't know, monthly or yearly even maybe. What you really have to watch out for are impulse purchases. And with impulse purchases, I mean, having a bad day, so buying a doll. Or you did a really great thing and you want to reward yourself, so buying a doll. Sometimes you really have to question yourself, like, okay, am I trying to fill a void here? Or am I really getting that doll because I saved up for this doll and she has been on my wish list for a very long time? And sometimes it's also good to like, stop yourself in the doll aisle while you're holding a doll ready to purchase and think like, okay, do I really
do I really
want this doll, or do I want it to feel a FOMO feeling, feel like a kind of like void because I'm actually feeling pretty shitty today? The impulse purchases, I can definitely relate to that. Those impulse purchases are, the things that just mess with your doll budget. And also a thing when a store has like a crazy sale and they're actually selling dolls that you already have, but for a very low price. And you have the feeling like, oh my gosh, I just bought this doll when it came out for like $75, euros, whatever, and it's priced down to like 25 or 30. Girl, chill. You already have the doll. Sometimes, really sometimes, you just do not need a second. Sometimes you do. Because, sometimes the fashions are just too iconic. And if you get a chance to get a second one at a cute discount price, I mean, guilty, very guilty over here. But sometimes, you left dolls on the shelves like, okay, no, I don't really need it. And she's too expensive anyway. But then it marked down and then suddenly you're like, I think I do need this doll. Yeah. So next time you're at that aisle thinking that same thing, think of me and think of me saying to you, girl, Girl, do you really, 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 really need that doll? Because you actually really did not like it to begin with. So why all of a sudden you need it now? And also just sometimes evaluate your past purchases, like from the past 3 months or so, and think about the dolls that you have purchased and if they are still worth keeping. That's also kind of like a way to filter out those impulse purchases and really make you think like, okay, I got this doll, but do I really need this doll? Emma, is she giving me the spark joy? Put some Marie Kondo in it. Hold the doll. Is she giving you spark joy? Are the fashions amazing? Is the quality in check? Do you think you are going to do multiple restyles on this doll? Do you want to display it somewhere? Try to be kind of like critical to yourself. Ask yourself these questions and, yeah, figure out a way to keep your collection in check. So, which brings us to the feeling of shame and anxiety. Yeah, I find this a very heartbreaking topic, also because a lot of us, male adult collectors, tend to feel the shame of having dolls. Yeah, I just find that so heartbreaking because it's something you enjoy so much, but you feel shamed about, or have social anxiety because of having these dolls and having to hide them from people in your family, friends, or, social environment. So this whole social anxiety keeps you from really enjoying actually your collection and keeping you away from the time that you want to spend with them. So all that anxiousness, all that shame can also kind of like eventually lead to like a doll burnout and get rid of them altogether. So if you are in a situation like that, it doesn't actually even matter if you are a male collector, if you are a female collector, um, if you feel ashamed of having dolls, is that because of your direct environment, because of other people who have an opinion about that, or is it because you have an opinion about that? Why am I asking this question? Well, sometimes there are also people who have a shame that they like these dolls and have a pretty accepting environment. So they really are having a hard time of accepting themselves. So I'm not here judging you if you do relate to this, but if you relate, ask yourself, do I love myself enough to make me enjoy these dolls? It's a hard question and it might be a little bit confronting, but yeah, that's also sometimes an issue. I am in no place or position to tell you what to do about that. Um, if you have a very loving environment, but you know that they won't accept that, it's, you're not just going to turn your back to them and say, I love dolls. So if you do not accept that, get out of my face. And it's not how it works. I know that. Sometimes people don't accept these things about you because they are afraid of what society might think. It often comes from a place of fear. So if your family, if your friends do think it's weird that you're loving dolls, they're usually afraid of what might happen to you in, place of society. So yeah, shame and anxiety. It is. Ugh, why is it? Did it become a chore or is it still a hobby? Balance, of course, is the key word here. And by balance, I mean, um, is it like 100% time consuming, or do you also spend time, just with family, with friends, or do other stuff, other hobbies maybe? Um, you know, you are the only one who can answer that question. Is there a good balance between this hobby and the rest of your life? Again, referencing Marie Kondo, does it spark joy? You know, it is so cliche, but it's so true. Sometimes just too much of anything can be damaging for you. So sometimes it's just all you need is just a short break, you know, a break from all of the dolls, a break from social media. Try to focus on other things in your life. I don't know, working out, playing that video game you really wanted to but did not have the time to do. And the love will come back. I have those same phases actually, and sometimes I just, you know, need to take a break from all of the makeovers and all of the salon time, you know, even though I really still do enjoy doing it. But I also sometimes have that kind of like feeling of it's like becoming a chore. So whenever I just feel a hint of that feeling, I just actually immediately do something else or try to do something else to relax, or I don't know, work an extra shift or do something fun with friends, go out to dinner with the husband, you know, balance. Yeah, it's so cliche, but it's so true. So that was all I wanted to share with you today. Now, of course, let me know down in the comments if you have any, you know, additional thoughts or maybe helpful tips if you're going through the stuff we just talked about. Actually, the main thing I wanted to say is if you experience some type of doll burnout, it's not always bad. Sometimes it's also good to just take a step back, take a break, and then return and really enjoy again what you're seeing around you. And be thankful for what you have been able to collect all of these years, and to really evaluate, you know, re-evaluate what you love so much, so you can just, you know, purge something out of your collection to make some space for new loves. Let's continue the conversation in the comment section, and I'll see you all in a next video. Mwah! Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and of course, click the bell icon next to the subscribe button to get notified about any new videos that I upload. You can also follow me on Instagram at Barbie Nation. That's usually where I post all of my updates. And until the next video, mwah, big kisses from me, and I love you all.